tension, fear, endearment. These are all words that describe my feelings of the Hype House and suspense. Hello, I'm Yishan Jadha, your host for today's 2020 Suspense Showcase. In our broadcast classes at the high school, we created spooky suspense projects during the month of October. For this project, we had to use 3 different techniques, such as creative camera angles, building tension through editing, and long shots. Throughout the show today, I'm going to share with you a project that incorporates all 3 techniques, as well as multiple different scenes that showcase each technique separately. The first technique is a long shot. It has movement in the foreground and the background. It's typically one long continuous shot instead of multiple shorter shots. In addition, it typically has a long focal length and allows action to happen in the foreground and the background. Let's take a look at the long shot by Sarah Miller and Jesse Phelps. Creative camera angles. For the next technique, we're going to talk about creative camera angles. Creative camera angles are recorded from different positions to give a feel of suspense. They can include low angles, close-ups, and security camera views. By putting these different types of shots together, a new feel is created, making the audience feel uncomfortable or uneasy by changing their normal perspective. To showcase the use of creative camera angles in creating suspense, we're going to play a video by Sophia Trapanado, Bailey Kutsajani, Hannah Metzinger, and who all worked together to create a scene that incorporated camera angles really well to create suspense.
This is while we were digging.
Honey, what is this?
The construction guy found it.
Here to join me in a quick discussion is Sophia Trapanado. Sophia, can you tell me about what creative camera angles that you used?
We used angles from behind the characters, low angles and high angles.
And how do you think that these creative camera angles contributed to the suspense?
So as we transitioned from a low angle to an angle from behind the character, it helped to create tension and suspense.
Thank you, Sophia. Another technique used to build suspense is tension through editing. Building tension through editing is a common way to add suspense to a project post-filming. There are usually quick cuts and an increase in speed throughout the scene that incorporates dramatic audio to create a sense of tension. There can be different creepy sounds or eerie music included. Let's take a look at 2 examples of building tension through editing. The first work to demonstrate tension through editing is by Aaron Herpy, Kayda Eland, and Abby Payton.
Tonight's breaking news on the Joker. It has been reported that the Joker is back in the area and on the run. We do not know the gender of the Joker, but we do know that they are extremely dangerous. Keep your doors locked. Do not go outside in the dark alone. That is when he or she will strike. You do not want to be the Joker's next.
Our second example of tension through editing is by Caroline May, Julian May, and Brooke Hazard. Joining me to delve into tension through editing is Caroline May. Caroline, can you describe what's happening in your scene?
So we have the babysitter and she's coming into the room, and then we have a switch between her POV and then a shot that is following kind of her face and her expressions and a close-up on her face. And I think switching between them, kind of her shaky POV, and then we have kind of like her expressions, kind of shows you kind of the tension throughout the shot, and you see it through her reactions and through like her own eyes.
Mm-hmm. And how do you think that your audio helped contribute to building that suspense?
So we had kind of like a creepy, ominous kind of music underneath, was kind of like some piano notes, and I think it made the viewer kind of like really uneasy, and kind of helped contribute to just the suspense and fear.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining me, Caroline. For our final project spotlight, I'd like to highlight one full project that incorporates all three techniques. You'll also notice the use of a plot, as well as all three types of techniques we've just seen, and how they are used to create a flow throughout the entire piece. Joining me currently is one of my teammates, Trevor, who helped put this project together. Trevor, can you describe how we came up with this project and some of our inspirations?
Yeah, so some of our inspirations that we used for the project, we had the setting before we had the project, so we basically built the whole entire project around the setting that we were given.
And can you describe the plot that went on?
Yeah, so the plot that we had was basically our main character, lost in the woods, car breaks down, stumbles upon this farmer's land, goes in the barn, checks it out, falls asleep, farmer doesn't like that, and eventually kills him at the end.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you think are some of the things you liked and disliked about this project?
One of the things I liked about this project was, of course, our setting, and then our also use of audio techniques that we used. And then one of the things we didn't like and ran into problems with were using correct lighting because it was so dark outside.
Mm-hmm. And finally, what do you think are some key takeaways for creating suspense in a project?
One of the main things that I took away was making sure that our audio with